Om apyayantu mamangani vak pranaschakshuhu shrotramatho balamindriyani cha sarvani sarvam brahmopanishadam maham brahma nirakuryam ma brahma nirakarot anirakaranamastvanirakaranam mestu tadatmani nirateya upanishatsu dharmaste mayi santu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Good morning, everyone. It's a great honor to be speaking to you today. And thank you so much to the Ramakrishna Mission Vidya Mandir Bose House campus for inviting me. And my respectful pranams to Swami Shukadevanandaji Maharaj and Swami Mahapragyananandaji Maharaj. I'm going to be speaking today about the importance of physical fitness for youth, especially for the youth of India. The last Olympics was held in Tokyo in 2020, a few years ago. And let me run some statistics by you. So, the US, the population of the US is 331 million, 39 gold medals, 40 silver medals, 33 bronze medals. The country of Japan, 125.7 million population, 26 gold medals, 14 silver medals, 17 bronze medals. England, it's a tiny country, 55.98 million population, 22 gold medals, 20 silver medals, and 22 bronze medals. South Korea, even smaller country, 51 million population, 6 gold medals, 4 silver medals, 10 bronze medals. Now let's look at India. What's the population of India? 1.4 billion people live in India. That's more than all of these countries combined. And how many gold medals has India produced? 1 gold, 2 silver, 4 bronze. We should be ashamed. We should be ashamed, and we're not ashamed. Why is India so behind in physical fitness, in physical exercise? And I've raised this question before, and I hear nothing but excuses. Swami Vivekananda did not like excuses. He said one of the biggest problems in India is that Indians blame other people for their problems, they make excuses. The first step in cultivating dignity, in being good citizens, in being good spiritual aspirants, the first step is to take responsibility for yourself. Whatever weaknesses, mistakes you make, accept them as your own responsibility. You can say, I made a mistake, I'll try to do better. So that's what we should say. In India, why are we so behind in physical fitness? Why is the rest of the world so much advanced compared to us in terms of these physical health, physical fitness? So I'm going to talk today about why physical fitness is so important for the youth, for everybody, and for spiritual aspirants as well. What did Swami Vivekananda have to say about physical fitness? So let's begin. First of all, it's through physical exercise and physical fitness that we can have a healthy body and a healthy mind. And you need a healthy body and a healthy mind to do anything in life, including studies and everything else. But there is an intimate connection between physical health and mental health and mental strength. And what Swamiji noticed, Swami Vivekananda, back in the 19th century, what he noticed is that most of India's problems come from physical weakness, actually. It's from physical weakness that we end up with mental weakness. It's because of mental weakness that we have spiritual weakness. So to gain spiritual strength and mental strength, the first step is cultivating physical strength and having physical fitness. Let me read to you a very powerful passage from Swami Shishya Shongbar, Conversations with Sharat Chandra Chakravarti, a householder disciple of Swamiji. Sharat Chandra asks Swamiji the following: why do you talk so much about the necessity of physical fitness? Swamiji responds as follows. He says, well, do you consider yourselves true human beings? You have got only a bit of rationality, that's all. How will you struggle with the mind unless the physique be strong? Do you deserve to be called men any longer, the highest evolution in the world? What do you do besides eating, sleeping, and satisfying your lust? Thank your stars that you have not developed into quadrupeds yet. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, that person is a true human being who is conscious of his or her dignity. Manhush achajar she manush. Then Swamiji says, you are but standing witnesses to the lowest class of insect-like existence, of which the scripture speaks, that they simply undergo the round of births and deaths, without being allowed to go to any of the higher spheres. You are simply living a life of jealousy among yourselves, and are objects of hatred in the eyes of the foreigner. You are animals. Therefore, I recommend you to struggle. Leave aside theories and all that. Just reflect calmly on your own everyday acts and dealings with others, and find out whether you are not a species of being intermediate between the animal and human planes of existence. First, build up your own physique. Then only can you gradually get control over the mind. Nayamatma balahinena labhyaha. This self is not to be attained by the weak. This is from the Kathopanishad. Then Sharat Chandra says, but sir, Shankara has interpreted the word weak, balahina, to mean devoid of brahmacharya or continence. Swamiji, let him, I say, the physically weak are unfit for the realization of the self. This is a very important passage. Swamiji is giving a new interpretation to our ancient scriptures. Kathopanishad, Nayamatma balahinena labhyaha. Shankaracharya gives a very high spiritual interpretation. He says, the Atman can never be realized by those who are not pure in thought, word, and deed. Swamiji is not disagreeing with Shankara. He's saying that's true. But in order to have that level of spiritual purity, first you have to have physical strength. That's why he says this Upanishadic statement, this Upanishadic mantra, balahinena, also means physically weak. This Atman cannot be realized by the physically weak. You have to become physically strong in order to make spiritual progress. See, the idea is, since there is an intimate connection between body and mind, in order to control the mind, you have to control the body first. You have to have a healthy body in order to have a healthy mind. Why is there such an intimate connection between body and mind? In Indian philosophy, in Vedanta and other philosophies, mind itself is a subtle form of matter. Just as this body is made up of gross matter, the mind itself is also matter. It's physical matter, but in a more subtle form. So both mind and body are physical. They're both forms of physical matter. So obviously there's a direct connection between one kind of physical matter, the gross form, which is the physical body, and the subtle form of physical matter, which is the mind. So that's the philosophical basis of this intimate connection between the body and the mind. Let me read to you, Swamiji says, we have become weak. Make your nerves strong. What we want is muscles of iron and nerves of steel. We have wept long enough. No more weeping, but stand on your feet and be men. In fact, Swamiji says, let me read to you another long passage of his. In spite of the greatness of the Upanishads, in spite of our boasted ancestry of sages, compared to many other races, I must tell you that we are weak, very weak. First of all is our physical weakness. That physical weakness is the cause of at least 1/3 of our miseries. We are lazy. We cannot work. We cannot combine. We do not love each other. We are intensely selfish. Not three of us can come together without hating each other, without being jealous of each other. We speak of many things parrot-like, but never do them. Speaking and not doing has become a habit with us. What is the cause of that? Physical weakness. This sort of weak brain is not able to do anything. We must strengthen it. First of all, our young men must be strong. Religion will come afterwards. Be strong, my young friends. That is my advice to you. You will be nearer to heaven through football than through the study of the Gita. These are bold words, but I have to say them, for I love you. I know where the shoe pinches. I have gained a little experience. You will understand the Gita better with your biceps, your muscles a little stronger. You will understand the mighty genius and the mighty strength of Krishna better with a little of strong blood in you. You will understand the Upanishads better and the glory of the Atman when your body stands firm upon your feet and you feel yourselves as men. You see, Swamiji said these stirring words toward the end of the 19th century. And unfortunately, everything he's saying about India is still true today. India is still steeped in tamas. You see, and still these problems of jealousy and weakness and corruption, all of this is still here. And you as the youth of India, the responsibility is on you. It's on your shoulders to bring India up to a higher level, to elevate India, to move away from these petty jealousies and corruption and weakness. And the first step is becoming physically strong. This is why Swamiji emphasized physical strength and physical fitness so much. You see. Now, some people have taken Swamiji's statements out of context. This is very common. And some people say, how can Swamiji say that, telling the youth of India that you should rather play football rather than read Bhagavad Gita? I can't believe, how can he say such things? You have to look at the context. The context is he saw that the youth of India are steeped in tamas. They're lazy, physically weak. And he says, how can you possibly understand higher spiritual truths without becoming physically strong first? The first step in spiritual life is having a strong body. Then alone will you have a strong mind. And only with a strong mind can you engage in spiritual practice. This is the idea. He's not saying don't read Bhagavad Gita. He's saying you won't be able to understand and appreciate and practice the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita without being physically strong first. So keep that in mind. Physical strength is the basis of mental and intellectual strength. And mental and intellectual strength is the basis of spiritual strength and spiritual power. I wanted to mention that there was a recent scientific study published in Nature, one of the top science journals in the world, talking about this. What it proved is that there is an intimate connection between body and mind. So let me read to you a description of this very recent study published in 2023, April 2023. A new study by researchers at Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis, in the US, indicates that the idea that the body and mind are inextricably intertwined is more than just an abstraction. The study shows that parts of the brain area that control movement are plugged into networks involved in thinking and planning, and in control of involuntary bodily functions, such as blood pressure and heartbeat. The findings represent a literal linkage of body and mind in the very structure of the brain. So these scientists, Gordon et al., they came up with a term to capture this body-mind connection that they found. They call it SCAN, S-C-A-N, Somato-Cognitive Action Network. And what they found is that there is a deep connection between body and mind, and they've given scientific evidence for this, and it's actually built into the structure of the brain. And their research explains why people who exercise regularly, who are physically fit, report a more positive outlook on life. They're much more cheerful, much more joyous, much more productive, much more efficient, much more kind to other people than people who are physically weak and who don't exercise regularly. So the latest scientific research is also justifying what Swamiji said over a century ago. So it's very, very important. If we are true disciples of Swamiji, we must be physically strong and we should exercise regularly. Another thing, many scientific studies are coming out showing that those who exercise regularly have much better mental health as well. Throughout the world now, people are suffering from mental health issues like anxiety, like depression, like schizophrenia, so many bipolar disorders, there's so many mental health problems. And there's a huge industry of psychiatric medicine. You have a mental health problem, you go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, the psychiatrist will prescribe certain medicine. Take this medicine every day. Medicine is not the ultimate cure. It can be necessary in some cases, but what new scientific studies have found is that regular physical exercise can be more effective than even psychiatric medicine in helping with mental health issues like depression, like anxiety. In some cases, medicine may be necessary, but another very helpful treatment is regular physical exercise. This is something that many scientific studies are showing. So you have to keep this in mind. Another thing is that those who exercise regularly, what you'll find is they have self-discipline. Because you cannot exercise regularly without having self-discipline. If you exercise in the morning, you have to get out of bed in order to do your exercise. What does it mean? It means that slowly, as you maintain this habit of regular physical exercise, you will be cultivating self-discipline in other aspects of your life as well. In order to succeed in life, in order to succeed as a student, you have to have self-discipline. You see, to do well as a student, you need to do your homework, you have to study hard, you also have to exercise regularly, you have to eat properly. All of this requires self-discipline. All of it requires self-discipline. Otherwise, if you don't have self-discipline, what will happen? You'll be on your smartphone all day, you'll be using social media, you'll be wasting your time with friends, and your whole life will be spoiled. So through regular physical exercise, you will be able to cultivate self-discipline, you will be mentally strong and mentally healthy, and you will find that you will be able to study with greater concentration, you will get better marks on your exams, you will be a greater success in life if you do regular physical exercise. This is why Swamiji emphasized physical exercise so much, over and over again. Some people were very surprised because he's a great saint, of course, Swami Vivekananda. Oh, why is he talking so much about physical exercise? Won't it increase body consciousness? No, if you do exercise, it will reduce body consciousness if you do it properly. What's the logic? The logic is, you see, what is exercise? Physical exercise is, I am putting my physical body through some kind of hardship. It's a kind of physical austerity, tapasya. Why? Because it's difficult. The body doesn't like it exactly. See, I went jogging for 1 hour this morning. The body it's difficult for the body. You see, and because you're putting your body through that challenge, that physical challenge, you yourself are growing in spiritual strength, and you are able to break your identification with the body. You see, if we are identified with the body, we won't want to give the body any hardship. We don't want to put the body through any kind of struggle or challenge. Those are highly tamasic people who are completely identified with their physical body. Those who are a little bit more sattvic, they know they are not the body. Just as if you own a vehicle, you own a car, okay? Let's say I own a car. You see, won't I put gas in the car, petrol? Won't I wash the car once in a while? Right? Why? Why will I do it? Because I'm using it to go from place A to place B. Because otherwise the car will not be as effective. In the same way, I have to maintain the physical body so that it will be an effective instrument so that I can use it properly and so that it can help me in my intellectual life, in my spiritual life. That's the idea. So if you do exercise properly, physical exercise properly, it will not strengthen body consciousness, it will actually help to weaken your body consciousness. Another piece of advice, see, everything depends on your attitude, your inner attitude. What is your attitude when you engage in physical exercise? Is it in order to look handsome and to attract other people? Then that's a very worldly thing. Then your body consciousness will increase. But if you do it, if you do physical exercise as a means of becoming physically strong and as a means of being mentally strong and spiritually strong, and if you do it as an offering to God, if you do it as karma yoga, Bhagavan Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasyadhyatma chetasa nirashi nirmamo bhutva yutyasva vigatajvaraha. Krishna says, whatever you do, offer it to me. And try to take the ego out of anything you're doing. If you do it like that, then the exercise itself becomes a spiritual practice. Anything you do, you should try to do it as an offering to God. That's why in chapter 9 of Gita, Krishna says, Yat karoshi, yad ashnasi, yad juhoshi, dadasi yat. Yat tapasasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, including physical exercise, including eating and sleeping, everything, do it as an offering to the divine. If you do it as an offering to the divine, that physical exercise itself will become a spiritual practice. It will help you to make spiritual progress. You will increase in bhakti, in viveka, in vairagya. All of these wonderful things will come. So you have to purify your attitude. You have to change the attitude with which you do your physical exercise. Don't do it in order to look good for other people. Do it as an offering to the divine, and do it in order to gain mental strength and spiritual strength. Another thing that's very important, another reason why physical exercise is so important for students and in spiritual life, for spiritual aspirants, is because according to Vedanta, we have energy. And in spiritual life, we have to sublimate that energy. We have to turn retas into ojas. One of the most common problems that the youth face is struggles with lust, physical lust. Physical exercise is one of the most helpful things in dealing with this problem of lust. Because Vedanta says, retas is the energy of lust. Through physical exercise and through spiritual practice, we can sublimate that retas and convert it into ojas, O-J-A-S, ojas. That retas becomes ojas, and we can make spiritual progress, we can become better students as a result through that sublimation of physical energy into mental energy and spiritual energy. And if you do physical exercise regularly, you will find that you will be better able to control these very strong feelings like lust and anger and greed and these things. Unless you're physically strong, you won't be able to deal with these very difficult things. Swamiji says this exactly. He says to deal with lust, you have to be physically strong. So keep that in mind also. Because this world now, 2023, everybody has a smartphone. This world is full of temptations. And if we succumb to these temptations, we'll become weak, we'll become mentally weak, we'll become physically weak, we'll become spiritually hopeless. So the first step in becoming mentally and spiritually strong is developing a strong physical body. But always remember, when you do physical fitness, when you do physical exercise, do it as an offering to the divine, as an offering to God. Try to take the ego out of this exercise, and by doing that, you will actually weaken your body consciousness and come closer to God realization. You should always remember that Vedanta teaches that everything is Brahman. In the opening mantra that I said at the beginning of this talk, Sarvam Brahmopanishadam. Sarvam Brahmopanishadam. Everything in this world is nothing but that Brahman spoken of in the Upanishads. And in that opening mantra you'll find Apyayantu Mamangani, Vakpran. It's a prayer for physical strength and mental strength and spiritual strength. But the prayer is, please, O Lord, make my limbs, my physical limbs strong. Why do the Upanishads say this? Swamiji understood. Without physical strength, you cannot have mental strength and you cannot have spiritual strength. Taittiriya Upanishad distinguishes 5 levels of being, 5 Atmas, 5 Purushas. What are the 5? Annamaya Atma. That is the self made of food. It's the physical sheath, the physical body. Pranamaya Atma, the vital Atma. This is the Pranamaya. Then Manomaya, the level of the mental Atma. 4th, Vijnanamaya Atma, intellect. And 5th, Anandamaya Atma, the self of bliss. All of these different levels of being, all 5 of these Atmas, are different manifestations of Brahman. So even the physical body is a manifestation of that same Brahman. If that's true, how do we manifest Brahman? How do we manifest divinity in every walk of life? We do so by trying to manifest it at every level of our being. We should manifest Brahman also at the level of the physical body. We do that by becoming physically strong and by taking regular exercise. You, the youth of India, are the next generation. So you have to take responsibility for yourselves. You have to ask yourself, why is it that India is so far behind other countries in physical fitness, in sports? Why is it that India cannot produce any more than 1 gold medal in the entire Olympics? This is a very shameful situation, and the responsibility is on your shoulders to improve the situation in this country and gain physical strength and make this country great. And through physical strength, you will gain mental strength and mental power. And through mental strength and power, you will also gain spiritual strength and spiritual power. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.